Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime, and it is time to talk about Dynamike's, Bull's, and Spike's star powers. Now I'm going to be giving you guys a sneak peek at some actual footage of their secondary star powers that will be released in a couple of days, and I'll also be comparing them to their current star powers and ranking each of them so that you know which star powers you should buy first if you're a free-to-play player, or which star powers to use if you are a gemmer like myself. I'm going to be doing this for all of the new star powers as they're being released, so make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss it, because that would be sad. Sad for me. It would be sad for me if you might miss my video, guys. Don't make me sad. Let's start off by talking about Spike's new star power, Curveball. Now this makes it so that the spikes fly out after the initial attack. They will fly in a curving motion, making it a lot easier to hit enemy targets. This new star power is very interesting. At first glance, it just makes Spike's attack look cooler with that curving motion. However, just like the description of it, it actually does make so that Spike's attacks are more likely to hit a target. In most cases, we'll talk about that later. Now here is an image of the Curveball star power on the left versus one without it over on the right. Now the blue lines represent the path of the spikes, and the green lines represent the area that the enemy target will take damage from if they are within that area. As you can see, the Curveball star power maximizes the area, meaning that in open spaces, you are very likely to hit your target as long as they are within range of his attack, which is an incredibly long range attack, so that's actually really impactful. By my estimates, Curveball covers roughly 30% more area, but I believe that you'll actually hit targets much more than just an increase of 30%. Most skilled players know exactly where to walk in order for them to like dodge an attack from Spike. With some practice, it's really not difficult to pull that off, so you can actually make Spike's regular attack like effectively meaningless as long as you're outside of its range. With Curveball activated, as long as they are within range, they will get hit. However, there is an exception. Because of the direction of the spiral, if Spike throws out an attack to hit an enemy target hiding behind a wall, if that opponent is to the right of the spike, they will get hit because it rotates in a clockwise motion. But if the opponent is to the left of the spike, the wall will actually protect them. This is really important to note because Spike's attack without the Curveball star power in this one situation would actually be more effective because the attack doesn't get blocked by the wall, it will just go straight to the left and actually hit them. This is a very particular situation, and overall, I think that having Curveball will be much better than not having it. But it should definitely be something that you consider when you're actually going to purchase it. Now, as a side note, for those of you guys that are real Brawl nerds like myself, or myself, Kairos, I'm also a Brawl nerd if you just don't forget about me. Whether you are actually true red or true blue, the spikes will always rotate in a clockwise fashion. So if you're actually facing an enemy spike in a 3v3 mode, it will look like it's counterclockwise, but the rotation will actually be backwards for you. It will be actually clockwise when you are facing an enemy spike in Showdown, because everybody is true blue in Showdown. If you're confused about true red and true blue, then don't worry about it. If you really want to know, then I did a video on it, so you can search that and find that. Now, Spike's original star power is Fertilize. After his attack, a Spike regenerates 500 health per second by staying in its area. If Spike is in the super during the entire 5 seconds, that means the Spike will heal 2,500 HP, which it's crazy. It's kind of like Spike actually having 5,860 HP at max level, which is right in the middle of like Poco's and Pam's health, and that's actually like a lot of health. That's actually pretty game-changing for Spike. It really allows him to deal with melee brawlers up close, because it can be difficult for like a lot of brawlers to deal more than 500 damage per second, especially if they're within that thing and it's slowing them down. They can't keep up to him, and Spike's able to run away healing, you know, laughing. However he laughs. Apparently he laughs like Gene. Also allows Spike to actually use a super entirely on the defensive if a situation ever calls for it and he just really needs to heal up. I've used that against like a Crow. You know, I know that I'm about to die, throw it on my super and I heal up and it saves me from the poison. You guys get the idea. So then, which star power is better for Spike? Well, I'm glad that you asked. For Fertilize, you're adding the option of incredible defense to Spike when those situations call for it and when he really needs it. But for Curveball, Spike will more consistently deal damage with his regular attack, and the ability for Spike to control an area from a distance will greatly increase. Overall, I believe Curveball is a more useful star power, so out of the two, I would probably use Curveball more frequently and would recommend purchasing it first if you're planning on saving up a star power for Spike. With that said, there are specific cases on certain maps where you would want to go with Fertilize just so that Spike can attack enemies hiding from behind walls to his left. The skill to actually be able to like use fertilize is a really great skill that really takes players off guard. So it would also be a good star power to have eventually. I would actually rank both of these star powers as S tier star powers because of how much both of them actually help cover some of Spike's weaknesses. Up next, guys, let's talk about Bull's star powers. Bull's new star power, Tough Guy, it makes it so that when Bull falls below 40% health, he gains a shield that reduces all damage taken by 30%. Now, for reference, this is like, if he's at 40% HP, it's like Bull's gonna gain an additional 873 health, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is helpful. The 40% health mark for Bull is at 2.9 thousand health, so that will make it like he has 3.7 thousand health. Honestly, I don't think that it's very much in comparison to some other star powers that offer a lot more healing or shielding, but it definitely is helpful. In particular, I'm thinking about Shelly's Band-Aid. That's like an insane amount of health. If anything, it will allow Bull to actually close the gap between him and longer range brawlers on maps that like don't have a lot of bushes or walls for him to like really sneak up on people. Now for Bull's original star power, Berserker, when Bull falls below 40% health, his reload speed doubles, essentially allowing him to have double the firepower, which for Bull, that's a lot. Once again, that 40% health happens at 2.9 thousand HP when Bull's like really vulnerable. And the reason why I say that he's really vulnerable is because like in order for him to get close to an enemy player, for him to deal damage with that extra additional firepower, he has to be close to them, and so they're gonna be able to auto aim on him. And so yeah, that 3000 HP is not very much. Because of how low that 40% HP mark is, it's typically better for a Bull to heal up than to increase his firepower. However, there are some cases in like Heist where if he stays at 40% and for whatever reason nobody's around him, he can just shred through an enemy safe ridiculously fast, and that's always fun to do as well. Now, because most enemy players outrange Bull, he doesn't really want to be below 40% health because he usually uses that health as a resource to get close to an enemy player. So then the question is, which star power is better? Well, they both have the same requirement in order for them to be activated, being below 40% health. So then it really comes down to having more of an offense versus having more of a defense. This is a very big meta decision, and choosing which star power is which you're going to use is going to be based off of the goal of the mode and the type of the map. A Bull with Tough Guy will lose against a Bull with Berserker if they're standing right next to each other, because the faster shot from Berserker will actually blast through the extra HP that the Tough Guy Bull has. Like it's nothing. It's just another drop in the bucket. But a Bull with Berserker will have a harder time getting close to an enemy Colt in an open space than a Bull with Tough Guy. I guess what I'm really trying to say is that maps that offer a lot of walls or bushes for Bull to like really get close to enemy brawlers will be better option for you to choose Berserker. But Tough Guy will actually allow for Bull to do a lot better on some of those more like open maps. Overall, I would say that both star powers are B tier, simply because it just happens when Bull's at such a weak point. Maybe A tier, but overall, I would probably say Tough Guy is better than Berserker, but there's definitely a reason that you would want both of them. Okay, guys, lastly, let's talk about Dynamike's new star power, Demolition. When Dynamike has this star power activated, he deals an additional 1000 damage with his super, bringing his total super damage to 4080 damage with a single super. That is a 32% damage boost to a super, which is crazy. In fact, this makes it so that Dynamike goes from being able to only one-shot Tick with his super to being able to also one-shot other Dynamikes, Brocks, Colts, Pipers, Ricos, Spikes, and Crows. Now, unlike Dynamike's other star power, you don't really have to think about using the star power in any specific way or anything like that. It just automatically makes Dynamike consistently better whenever he has his super charged. Now, for Dynamike's original star power, Dyna Jump, Dynamike rides the blast wave of his explosion to jump over obstacles, jump over enemy players, to become invincible for a short period of time. There are actual frames where you cannot deal any damage to him at all. Now, when Dyna Jump was originally released as a star power, I honestly thought it was kind of like a joke star power. I thought for sure they were going to change it and give him a different one. I I figured hardly anyone would really be able to like utilize it to the point where there would be any benefit to using it aside from jumping over a wall here or there. I was totally wrong. I'll eat crow on that one, because Dynamike is completely untargetable while he is in the air, and pro Dynamike players will actually use this ability to legitimately dodge shots, run away from melee brawlers, land exactly where they want to, and do more than just skip over a wall every now and then. It does take a massive amount of skill in order for him to utilize this star power consistently in the middle of battle, when you're actively trying to attack enemy players and dodge shots. But if you can do just that, I can't think of anything else that will give your enemies a bigger headache, except for Shelly with Band-Aid. That might give you a bigger headache. So then the question is, which star power is better for Dynamike? I think that Demolition is an overall better choice for Dynamike players. I think that if you want to become a true master of Dynamike, you will absolutely want to mess around with and understand how Dyna jump actually works, but my guess is that its skill cap is so much higher than Demolition that most players will just get Demolition first and prefer using it for the additional damage over the oddball case where Dyna jump is actually really makes a big impact. Now, I do think that there are some cases where Dyna jump would be worth it. There are some heist maps that allow for Dynamike to have really easy access to the enemy safe just because he can jump over walls, and learning how and when to use this ability will make Dynamike an excellent option. But most of the time, I would suggest using Demolition because 1000 additional damage is insane. Personally, I would rank Dyna Jump A tier overall, maybe better or worse depending on your skill, but I would rank Demolition as an S tier star power, making it the obvious first choice. Once again, guys, there is definitely a reason why you would want to own all 6 of the star powers. I don't think that any of them are useless, but there are some clear options for which ones you would want to go with first, or which ones you would want to use majority of the time. Spike's curveball will be a greater help to him more consistently than Fertilize currently is. Bull's tough guy will likely help him close the gap more frequently than his Berserker will help him finish off an enemy brawler. And Dynamike's Demolition will offer way more consistent benefit over Dyna Jump. Out of these 6 star powers, I think that you're better off going with either Dynamike's Demolition or Spike's Curveball, because both of them really make Dynamike or Spike a much more consistent threat in the heat of battle. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, I will be going over more star powers as they are released, and I'm thinking of doing like an overall star power tier list eventually. If you guys want that, let me know in the comment section below. For now, guys, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.